Let's cover making static footage look like it's handheld. This is a really easy thing to do once you get the hang of it, and I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. One uses Premiere to, edit the shot from the raw footage, and then After Effects to give it the handheld wiggle effect. I think this is the most simple way. This is how I do it personally. But I'll show you another method that is done totally in Premiere, in case After Effects is not something you want to deal with. This video is directly related to my remote directing series. So we've been doing 100% remote directing with iPhones and the remote viewer Splashtop SOS. Find more information and videos in this series below. So since I'm filming 100% remotely, with me in my home and the actor in their home, I do this by having the actor set up the shot on a tripod or similar, and that ends up being a static shot, obviously, no movement. But I made a horror film, and some of the shots I really wanted a little camera shake or wiggle. This gives the shot a little more tension. It also helps me with my maybe main objective of making this project not feel like she shot it herself. So number one, you gotta get the shot. Ideally, you wanna shoot at a higher resolution than you're finishing in. For example, I made this short film, The Veil, for the web just to live on YouTube. So I finished the film in 1920 by 1080. But I shot it, or rather my actor shot it, at 3840 by 2160. This is helpful because when I add the wiggle, I also need to scale up the film a little bit, which could lead to a little bit of quality loss if you're filming and finishing the same resolution. Now this is not necessarily a reason to not add shake to your frame if you shot the film in the same resolution that you're going to finish in. It's just that you have to make that call if the quality loss or the shake is more important to you. I am also a professional editor, and as a general rule, I will scale something about 10%. Once you get beyond that, you start to see some quality loss. If you're scaling your image beyond 110 or 10% over its initial resolution, you might start to see loss, but this is subjective. I definitely wouldn't recommend scaling a whole film up, but if you're scaling a couple shots here and there, 10, 15%, probably no one will notice. Most editors that I ask confirm this is about 10, 15, or even 20% increase before you'll actually see the quality loss. Okay, number two, let's add this camera shake. Let's start with the method that uses After Effects. I'm in Premiere, and I have a shot that I want to look handheld. I can either export it and reopen it in After Effects, or I can just send that clip to After Effects. For simplicity, I'm just going to send this shot to After Effects by right-clicking and replace with After Effects Composition. The first time you do this in a project, it'll open a new After Effects project. Save that somewhere. So here we are in After Effects. We have this project saved, and I'm ready to put a wiggle on it. So what we're doing is adding a wiggle expression to the position data for the shot. The first thing to do is look at that position data, and we can do that by highlighting the clip and pressing the P button on your keyboard. Next, position your mouse over the little stopwatch, and then Option or Alt click to bring up the expression panel. In this little scripting panel, start to type the word wiggle, and wiggle will auto-populate, followed by parentheses with no space between the word and the symbol. Now you can play around here, but a good place to start is wiggle, open parenthesis, 1,25, close parenthesis, and you're done. Just click off of it, watch your video, and see the wiggle. People seem to typically use about 125 to about 135 for a bigger wiggle. It might be helpful to set the background color of your sequence to a brighter color so you can really see the edges and just see what's happening. So what do these mean, 1,25? 1 is the number of times your shot will wiggle per second. 25 is how many pixels your shot will wiggle by. If you have a linked project, just return to your Premiere project. Your shot is now included in your timeline as linked to After Effects, so you make sure to keep your After Effects open when you export your final film. If you exported the shot out of Premiere, then export it out of After Effects and import it back into Premiere. And here's where you do your scaling to get rid of the edges. Let's look at the next method done completely in Premiere. Okay, every time I do this, I shoot my own footage. It's just easier than trying to grab some shot off YouTube or something. Just shoot something yourself on your phone, something handheld. Here's a shot I just took of my lamp and my wall at night. Definitely have some handheld motion in there. Now here's the static shot that I want to put the handheld motion onto. Make them about the same length and do that by way of shortening the thing you shot. So you want to make sure what you shot is longer than the shot you want to animate. Get them about the same length. And now on the shot that has the handheld movement, right-click and nest this clip. Nesting essentially makes one sequence inside of another sequence. You can double-click on this nested clip and see this internal sequence. Now back in our main sequence in our project, we can now drag the warp stabilizer effect onto this nested shot and then let it run its course. Warp stabilizer is an incredible tool on its own that's used to stabilize clips, but it can also be used in this manner to effectively unstabilize them. When warp stabilizer is finished, on the nested exterior of the shot, we can go into the nest and delete the clip that we shot. We just delete this handheld clip and then pop back out into our project, where of course there's now nothing in this nested clip. So we're going to put this static shot inside of our nested shot. You can do that by copying and pasting it into the nested sequence and then pop back out, and magic. Your static shot has taken on the movement of your handheld shot. And that's it. 2 ways to make your static shots look handheld. And for remote directors, maybe also a way to make it feel like the actor wasn't the cinematographer.